Hi everyone. Welcome to Travelweek webinars. My name is Devin Kanaz. I'm the publisher and leader of Travelweek. And here we've been working tirelessly to get you agents the information you need, especially in these trying times. So today we have a very important webinar. We're going to be hearing from Agencia Global and WestJet, two very exciting brands. And before I introduce them, first of all, I want to tell you we do have a very fun prize, a heavily discounted WestJet flight for the participant that stays till the end and wins. And just to let you know that I'm going to be doing many rounds of questions. So if you have any questions, put it in the Q&A box. And then the chat box is if you want to talk to my technical help if you're having any difficulty. So let's get down to business. I would like to introduce Reggie Lang. He is the key account manager at WestJet. Hi, Reggie.
Hi.
Thank you so much for being with us here today. Tell us what's going on at WestJet.
All right, well, I'm going to do a presentation here. So just 1 second while I share my screen. All right. So thank you everyone for sticking with WestJet during the pandemic. I know things have been difficult. We are starting to see light at the end of the tunnel. I hope you guys are feeling the same way. And I wanted to go over some updates that we've done during the pandemic. We're trying to make things a little easier to do with WestJet. So getting into that, sorry, 1 second. What we've done over the during the pandemic and just recently, we've updated our WestJet travel agent resource site. So this is live now. And what we've done is we've removed the login requirement. So you can just click into the website and go. Everything is now HTML based for ease of searching. And then also it's a static link. So that link is always updated. So if you bookmark the change cancel policies, you should be able to pull it up right away. And we are always updating that information to make sure that you have the most current policies and programs in place. Obviously, with changing restrictions from the government of Canada, they announced this morning just with regards to the tier 2 airports. So things like that, we will always update in the travel agent resource site. Moving on to next. Our WestJet refund policy, we did change effective October 4th. So anything after September 1st, but flying before December 31st of 2021, still will require an individual waiver code. However, anything booked after October 4th flying into 2022, you can use your generic waiver codes, and everything can be found. There are waiver codes listed on the travel agency website resource page. Just with regards to our actual refunds. So our refunds are still with regards to WestJet A380 ticket stocks. So anything booked on or after February 1st, 2020. Any WestJet flights that were, these are all WestJet flights and all WestJet Encore flights that are eligible for refund, and any used or partially used open status tickets can also be refunded. So the eligibility for a refund is if the journey is changed by 91 minutes or more from the original departure date or departure time. So it has to be 91 minutes, not 90 minutes. So if it is 90 minutes right on the dot, then that does not qualify for a refund. And then if we have changed our routing where there's more than one stop or we've changed an airport, that qualifies for a full refund. And then where WestJet has canceled at least one flight segment where it's UN, UC, or NO with no replacement flight, that also is eligible for a full refund. WestJet has also ensured that our Book with Confidence program is still in place until December 31st of this year. So what that means is if your passenger has to cancel due to a COVID-related issue, they're allowed one free waiver of a change cancel fee. So that can be done for anything that's affected by COVID booking. Moving on. I just mentioned excuse me, the policy. So this the flight credits that were in place, we did extend for 24 months. At this point in time, any flight credits that have received that validity of 24 months, we are not extending any further than the 24 months of their validity. There are some credits that are starting to come due by the end of December 2021. Unfortunately, those will not be extended. So you do have to make a reservation before the end of the year. Flight travel can be well into 2022, but a flight needs to be booked to make sure that you use those credits. All of our change cancel policies are again available on the WestJet Travel Agent Resource site. So if you are confused, please review that. Moving forward. Moving on to some positive things. WestJet did announce just recently that we've added 95 new routes in 2021 and 2022. So we're boosting up our flights from Toronto. So we're offering 55 destinations with nonstops, including 26 international destinations, 17 domestic, and 12 transborder. So just to give you an idea, we're reinstating the Toronto-Boston, Toronto-Miami, Toronto-Grand Cayman, Port of Spain, Trinidad, Tobago, San Juan, Puerto Rico, Roatan, and Kelowna. We're also increasing some flights from Calgary to Hawaii. So, and we're also adding Fort Lauderdale, so Punta Cana, Dominican Republic, La Jolla, and Kona. We're also increasing nonstop flights from Winnipeg and also restoring connectivity from Regina to Winnipeg. So we did add Winnipeg, Cancun, Winnipeg, Orlando, and Winnipeg, Regina. So the Regina Winnipeg flights have been restored to 4 times weekly and with regards to the nonstop service. So people in Saskatchewan can get to those sun destinations quite easily. We're also connecting Edmonton to Honolulu with direct nonstop flights. We're also increasing our Kelowna services to Toronto. So just over our peak holiday travel, so December 17th to January 5th, we have added increased capacity into Kelowna for you. Some of the frequency starts and the times a week that we're adding are just listed here. So December 15th is kind of the start of when the new capacity comes into play. And you can find all of this on westjet.com. Moving on, we have added some new routes and 1 new destination into Europe. So we have flown Halifax, Glasgow, and Halifax, Dublin. We will continue to have that service, but we're now adding Toronto, Glasgow, Toronto, Dublin, and a brand new destination, Toronto, Edinburgh. So these services do start in spring of 2020. So May and June are the start times. And these flights are going to be serviced by the 737 MAX, which does have the range and will have hot food items on board. So we are mirroring our 787 food service on our 737 MAX service. So you can enjoy that hospitality flying over to these destinations from Toronto. And during the pandemic, we've had a lot of changes and consolidation, and just want to make sure that you still have all of the connection points at WestJet. So with regards to our toll-free numbers, we are still having some high volume challenges. I know that yesterday we were having WestJet Vacations customer service support line trunk out. So when you were on hold for 3 to 4 hours, sometimes it was kicking you out after it reached a certain time frame, just because there were so many phone calls coming into the contact center. We are increasing our staffing levels to accommodate the demand on the phones. Unfortunately, it does take time. We have hired people. It takes 30 days to train them and then get them back into service. So we have increased our capacity in our contact centers to make sure that we are servicing you. The thing that's challenging us right now is, as soon as we get new people on the phones, demand increases and our phone calls increase. And then we did recently announce a schedule change last week, which removed service from some of our tier 2 airports into our international destinations. This was prior to the Canadian government announcing the changes to the tier 2 airports today. Unfortunately, they did not communicate with us prior to our schedule change. We had asked them for a date, any idea of when they would make a decision, and there was no communication. So we had to do operationally what was responsible and cancel those flights. Somebody asked me if we will be revisiting that schedule change. And at this point, this news just came out this morning. So I'm sure our network planning team is looking at it, and we will make a decision later on this week. The challenge with that is pilots and flight attendants are probably not available. So we do need to make sure that we have the staffing available to operate flights. So getting back to the contact points, our toll-free number is still here. Travel support team is always the best option to support travel agents. Emailing does not get you a quicker response. In fact, it takes longer. So please be patient and use the travel support team. Our groups team is also seeing an increase in demand right now. We have hired and added in 3 additional bodies to the groups team. Our turnaround time on group quotes was our standard operating procedure within an hour to 2 to give you a quote. Unfortunately, that got pushed out to 5 days for air-only quotes. So we are trying to recover from that with the additional bodies, but do email your group requests into groups@westjet.com. Our meetings and conventions program is still operating, and you can request convention codes by emailing conventions@westjet.com. And travel agency payment services can still be reached at tapaymentservices@westjet.com. And for you that are booking a client and they missed their WestJet Rewards ID, you can still email that to tarewardssupport@westjet.com, and they will add that in for you. So at this point in time, I just want to thank you very much for supporting WestJet. We are continuing to grow and recover, and we see 2022 as a very positive year. So Devin, back over to you, and thank you again.
Thank you, Reggie. It's really nice to see WestJet in the skies again, and also hiring people for the call center. I'm sure that was a bit of a pain point for agents, which they're eager to move beyond. So thanks for all that information. Can I just remind all the agents out there, if you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A box, and I'm going to address them closer to the end. I would now like to introduce our next guest from Agencia Global, Jimmy Stavropoulos, and he is the Director of Sales for North America. Hi, Jimmy.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for taking the time to attend our webinar today. So I'm Jimmy. I'm Director of Sales at Agencia Global. We're a consolidator based in Montreal with offices both in Canada and the US. Now that Reggie has run through his presentation, and thanks again, Reggie, for the presentation. If you're interested in booking with WestJet, I'm hoping to convince you why it's worth booking WestJet with Agencia Global. So I'll just go ahead and share my screen and just give you a quick rundown of our booking platform. So here we go. Just bear with me. Hopefully now you can all see my screen. Is that the case?
Yes.
Perfect. All right. So I tend to do relatively long presentations on the booking process, and I get a lot of messages after saying, hey, I didn't catch this, I didn't catch that, could we set up a follow-up call? So I'll do kind of a condensed version of the presentation, just show you the ease of use of using Agencia and a few quick features that separate us from other consolidators in the market. And then I just basically like to put out an open invitation. If you like what you see and would like to learn more about the booking process and want to schedule a one-on-one webinar, it would be my pleasure to do so. So here we are on the search page of Agencia. So booking on Agencia is a 3-page process. The first one is as simple as entering your origin, destination, and travel dates. You'll see I pre-populated it with Toronto to Dublin. There's a reason for that. When we ask you to join these webinars, it's not just because we're going to be raffling off a prize, but because we've also worked with our airline partner to secure an Agencia exclusive promotion. So for the month of November, any tickets booked from Canada to Dublin, Edinburgh, or Glasgow will qualify for a $20 bonus commission. So over and above whatever WestJet already offers at time of ticketing, of which we always share 100%, there's no commission sharing with Agencia Global, there will be a $20 bonus per passenger for the month of November. So on the first page, as you could see, you could either book a round trip, a one-way, or a multi-city itinerary, multi-city allowing for up to 5 city pairs. So we'll just do a basic round trip at this point. Right over here, we don't just have a currency selector, but it's also a point of sale selector. So if you're located in Vancouver and you make a lot of bookings out of Seattle, for example, or if you're in Windsor and you book out of Detroit and so on, by clicking USD right over here, you would gain access to Agencia Global's commissions and net fares for point of sale US. So feel free to use that to your advantage. In this case here, obviously, we're going to book for point of sale Canada since it's out of Toronto. Agencia will allow you to book up to 9 passengers on one PNR. So that's where you could just provide the breakdown of adults, children, infants on lap, and on seat. And then finally, if you're looking to isolate one specific cabin class in the search results, you could do so. You could also search only for nonstop flights if you'd like. And then you could also disable multi-tickets. So Agencia by default is going to include in its search results, in the case that there's 2 one-way tickets that end up being less expensive for your customer or end up bonusing you. Sometimes airlines devise one-way or single ticket bonuses. Agencia is going to include those results among all other results. Now, if you are looking for just a true blue round trip fare, you would just hit on disable multi-ticket and off you go. You could also select from a few preferred airlines. So let's say we only wanted to book or look up some WestJet fares, then you could either search by spelling out the airline's name or even just entering their code and just click right over there. So we'll do an all airline search for today's demo. And at that point, you would just hit on search flights. And now you're looking at anywhere between a 20 and 40-second wait as Agencia runs through the GDS, our API connections and our aggregators to pull as many fares as possible. Depending on the OD, Toronto Dublin is a busy one, so it might take a bit longer than, let's say, a smaller one. But once you get to page 2 of 2, your results page, everything that you entered at the top of the page is going to recap the information you selected on the first just to ensure that no errors were made. So the results should be popping up any second. There we go. So as mentioned, just to recap, we selected point of sale Canada, Toronto Dublin round trip, just some arbitrary dates here, June 25th to July 2nd, so a 1-week trip for 5 adults. If we've made any mistakes, we could just click on refine your search, and that'll shoot us right back to the first page so we could adjust accordingly. The first thing we're going to see is our carrier matrix. So this is where we've entered all available fares from our airline partners, and you could scroll all the way down to the most unreasonable of fares by number of stops, and then they're listed in ascending order of lowest available price from left to right. The price highlighted in green is the lowest available price regardless of number of stops. And then the blue highlighted prices are the lowest price for that stop count. So for direct and for 2-stop, those ones would be highlighted in blue since the lowest available fare is highlighted in green. Now, if we scroll down, because this simply just gives you a high-level idea of where everyone stands in terms of price, if we scroll down to the available flight section, that's where we'll get more information. So at a quick glance, for example, here we'd say, okay, well, I could save $700 over 5 passengers. These are the prices, tax included for 5 passengers. I could save over $700 by going with BA instead of WestJet, but that doesn't tell the full story. So once we get down to our available flights, all airlines are sorted in ascending order of price, so the least expensive would be right there at the top. When we click on view flights, that's going to give us the available itineraries, and that's where we would come to the realization when we're looking at the outbound and the inbound flight, we have our connection times highlighted between segments. So if we want to save that $700 or $140 per passenger, we'd actually have to wait a full day in Chicago before being able to connect over to Dublin. And of course, going towards Chicago to go back on a transatlantic flight doesn't make much sense. So that's where you would see, okay, well, up here it says it might be advantageous, but this just doesn't make sense for my customers. So just quickly, what are we looking at from left to right? You've got your validating carrier, your fare type. So you've got either a published fare or a net fare, your RBD, your price per pax. When you hover over it, it's going to give you the breakdown between the base fare and the taxes. Your grand total, which once again, when you hover over it, is going to give you the breakdown per pax. The little blue luggage icon right over here, and we'll go to the WestJet one. When you click on that, you'll see a new window opens, and that's going to redirect you straight to the airline's website. So here you see we've brought you straight to to WestJet's page. So in the case that WestJet, for example, were to update their luggage policy, there's no wait time between when they make the update and someone on our team updates the information in Egencia. We're sending you straight to the airline so that you could have the most up-to-date information. Now, that said, just to go back to this BA example where we have a connection time that just doesn't make sense, we could actually filter these results just to find something that makes a bit more sense for our customers. So for example, we could say, look, I'm not interested in 2-stop itineraries. We're not interested in those multi-ticket itineraries that I mentioned earlier. And flight duration right over here, as I said earlier, Egencia will retrieve as many results as possible. So here we have round trip times of 67 hours, which obviously don't make sense. So you could say, for example, okay, well, my customers are willing to accept maybe a 2-hour connection time each way. So once you do that and click on apply filters, that's where you'll see this list really shorten significantly. And now all we're looking at is itineraries with 1 stop or less that are true round trip fares, no multi-tickets, and with a round trip time of 17 hours or less. Now, on that note, we'll just close our search results. If we are flexible in terms of either outbound, inbound dates, or both, we could click on the flexible day matrix. And what Egencia does here is add and subtract 3 days from both the outbound and the inbound dates and give you the lowest available price for each of those dates. Now, the fare of $38.67, highlighted right there in gray in the middle, right over here, corresponds to the date range we selected. Any cell that's in white is for a price that's more expensive than the one for the date range, for the date combination we selected. And then anything in green is less expensive. Now, you'll probably notice right over here that this cell right over here is highlighted in dark green. The dark green is the lowest available price. So if, for example, we're willing to travel from June 23rd to June 29th, then we could get a fare at $35.48 round trip, nonstop for the 5 passengers. You'll also note that my cursor turns into a little finger pointer. Every price in this matrix is hyperlinked. So if, for example, you were interested in this fare, if you were to click on it, Egencia is going to rerun your search. So again, Toronto to Dublin round trip for 5 packs, but it would adjust the outbound and inbound dates accordingly and bring you right back to this results page so you could select that fare. Now, Reggie gave you a rundown of why it's worth booking with WestJet. So obviously, we're going to continue booking a WestJet fare for this presentation. Again, from left to right, what are we looking at? We've got our number of seats remaining. We've got the flight number, our RBD, OD, departure and arrival times, and the flight duration. If you click on this little blue eye right here, you'll note that we have a little pop-up show up. So in this case, it'll just tell you what the rebooking fees are, if any, or any fare rules that the airline has put for us in the GDS. When you click on both your outbound and your inbound flight, you'll have a bunch of fare families show up right here at the bottom. So you'll note here that WestJet has a little blue line next to it. If you see a little blue line next to the carrier, that means that branded fares are available. So in the case of Aer Lingus, for example, this is your price, but there's no upgrades available to you. Whereas with WestJet, you've got the basic, econo, flex, and premium, each with their prices outlined. And then when you hover over them, it'll show you what's available, what's at a charge, or excuse me, what's included, what's at a charge, and what's not offered at all. So there you go, as we just hover over them. And when you click both your outbound and your inbound, I'm not sure if you noticed there was a little live commission calculator kicking in right over here, which tells us that right now, if we were to book this fare, we stand to make $50 of commission. So it's basically $10 per pax. Now, as mentioned, we do have that promo running from the 1st to the 30th of November. So 5 packs, $20 a pop, you're actually looking at a $100 bonus for a total commission of $150. So on that note, let's say we're ready to book this basic fare. We selected our outbound and our inbound dates. That's where we click on book. And we're on our way to page 3 of 3. So at this point, same concept as when we move from page 1 to page 2. It's just going to take a couple of seconds as it confirms seat availability. And then the top of page 3 is going to recap the information you selected on page 2 just to ensure that there were no errors. So we'll just wait for that to show up. And then at the top, you'll see that we have the outbound and inbound flights separated by blue highlighting. It'll show the flight number and all that good stuff. Now we've just got a little bit of Murphy's Law kicking in, and it's taking a little longer than usual. There we go. So here we are at page 3 of 3. So here's what I mentioned about the flights being separated by blue highlighting. You could see the aircraft, flight number, RBD, all that good stuff. If you forgot to click on the luggage icon on the previous page, we still give you the option to do so right over here. Once again, your fare family details will be highlighted right over here. Now, in case you didn't notice, I just clicked this little autofill button that's available only in my demo account. What that did here is just fill out these forms with fake passenger information, so you don't have to watch me fill out 5 sets of passenger info. So here's where you would enter your passenger information. Then you could finally add some travel insurance if you'd like, which if you don't already have an insurance partner, we've established partnerships for Point of Sale Canada at Agencia Global, and we're working on the same thing for Point of Sale US now. But it's very lucrative for you to sell, and we try to make it as easy for you as possible. So for example, if you're looking to offer the global all-inclusive travel protection, when you click on that, it'll show everything that's included, the total price, the average daily cost per passenger. So, you know, when you're talking $714, they might be scared off, but then we make it easier for you to present it as, look, it's only $17 per person per day, and this is the coverage that we offer you. And on that $714.80, you actually stand to make a commission of $287.55. So by all means, if you don't already have contacts for insurance or a supplier, feel free to use us for your travel insurance needs as well. And then finally, this is where Egencia really starts to separate itself from the competition. So in the price breakdown section, it shows us how much we stand to make. And in the case of whether it be a net fare or a published fare, you could actually add markup to your ticket. So just to recap what we're looking at over here, we see that we stand to make $50 of commission, which is actually indicated right here in the agency payout section. You'll see right here, I actually selected a multi-ticket, which is why you're seeing 2 line items right over here. So you see that you stand to make $50 worth of commission, and then you see that the tickets are being charged on WestJet's merchant account. So here's your outbound, here's your inbound. Obviously, WestJet accepts credit card on published fares. Now, if you want to know how much you could mark up a ticket by, and obviously in the case of a published fare, the answer is 0, you could actually just hover over the little question mark over here, and it shows you WestJet's merchant account allowance is 0. But then you have right underneath maximum agency markup. So Egencia is going to allow you to mark up your fare by up to double the base fare. It's basically an unlimited markup tool. We just have double the base fare set there as an arbitrary rule. But if you're ever able to mark up your tickets by more than double the base fare, you're probably working in the wrong industry and you should be selling $10 million mansions. But all that said, right below here, we see the price breakdown per pax. So you'll see your base fare, your taxes for your subtotal, your grand total, and then again, the charges on the customer's card are right over here. Now, let's say, for example, you do want to add a markup to this ticket because you've either included, an upgrade from a regular hotel room to a suite, or you've included vouchers for sightseeing tours, limo service to and from the airport, whatever the case may be. Let's say, for example, you've worked with your customer and you believe the service you're offering justifies a $1,000 markup on your ticket. Your base fare, your taxes, and your subtotal remain intact. You then have your markup right over here. And then we have a service fee. Basically, that markup, since it's not allowed on WestJet's merchant account, shows up on our merchant account, and we have a 3% fee there just to basically offset the cost of using our merchant account. Now, this is where in our webinars, we've received a lot of positive feedback, because when we present Egencia as a booking platform, we don't only want to show you how easy it is to use, but we also want to collect your feedback and basically just be better as a consolidation partner. So we always ask for everyone attending our webinars to give us feedback on not only what it is that we could do to improve our tool, but what could the consolidation industry to make your lives easier as travel agents. And one resounding answer in all the webinars we did was that agents sometimes would shy away from marking up their fare more than they felt they'd be able to, because they would get a call after the fact, after presenting something as a package price, they would get a call from their customer asking why there's a separate charge on their credit card, as is the case right over here. So any consolidator on the market is going to tell you, of course, use my merchant account. You could apply the markup to it. But then after you've fought this whole battle of presenting a package price, you've got the customer calling you back, and in this case, the $1,000, they could be asking, hey, how much was the limo service? Maybe like, was this the upgrade to the suite at the hotel? And now you start getting the third degree with them asking you basically how much money you made off that $1,030, which you really don't want to have any after sale headaches over that. So we've actually solved that problem for you. I'm going to direct your attention right over here to the pricing strategy area. So lowest price is selected by default. What we mean by lowest price is if you want to mark up this fare by $1,000, then the lowest price you could charge is $55.38, but that'll show the charges both from WestJet and Agencia Global. That said, the price will go up a bit, likely by about $150. This $55.83 will go up by a bit. But that said, if you click on single charge, there we go, we're at $57.20 now. But why is that? Because the entirety of the transaction is being pushed to our merchant account. So now you've presented that one package price, and the customer is going to see one line item on their credit card for the price that you agreed on with them. So the only call, based on feedback I've gotten, the only call now that you would get after the fact is just the customer saying, hey, I'm not seeing ABC Travel on my credit card statement. I'm not seeing WestJet. I'm seeing Agencia Global. Is everything okay? And at that point, it's very easy just to explain that we're your consolidation partner and we're the ones issuing the tickets for you. So you could feel free to mark up by up to double the base fare. If you do want to add any markup over and above what the airline allows for. And I do want to mention also that this isn't just a published fare tool, but it's a net fare tool as well. So as we all know, there are many airline partners who either don't allow for markup on their merchant account when it comes to net fares. And then in the cases of those who do, they'll usually cap you either 25% or up to the difference between the net fare and the published fare. So if ever you want to make a little more by marking up your fare a bit more, then feel free to use this single charge feature right over here. Now, in the case that you have a customer saying, you know, they're really firm on that 5,600 price point, or was it 5,580? At that point, you could just adjust the markup accordingly by a bit, and then you're back down to the 5,600. So you're not making that full 1,000 you intended on making, but this is still $890 more than any other consolidator in the market would allow you to mark up your fare without having to show your profit in a separate line item. So now let's say you've got those passengers all good to go, average cost of about $1,150 a piece, $1,140 a piece, and you think you're all done, ready to enter payment info and move on, but then all of a sudden, all five of them each pull out their respective credit cards because one wants to earn cash back, the other one's collecting Canadian Tire money, the other one's making air miles, the other one's got an Aeroplan card, and so on. So this is where another piece of feedback we'd get was agents were tired of having to go through this process and then having to book 5 separate PNRs for 5 passengers who all intend to travel together. So we've solved that issue for you as well. So when we scroll down to the payment section, you'll notice that single payment is selected by default. So if one person is covering everything with their card, by all means, enter their credit card info right over here, click that you agree to the terms and conditions, hit book and pay, and you're good to go. Now, let's say everybody does want to pay with their own card. Then you would hit multiple payment. If you scroll back down to the payment section now, you'll see it's grayed out, and it says, please make sure to assign passengers or fees to their credit cards. So we have our 5 passengers right over here. That's why I entered the autofill button earlier, so you don't watch me doing all this. And then you'll note we have 5 card slots over here. So if I grab, we've created a simple drag and drop system. If I grab each passenger and assign them to their respective credit cards, then when I get back down here, I have 5 separate tabs. So you've got Sydney on card 1. Let's say, you know, I'm paying the bill on the second one. Then we've got Reggie paying for the third one, and so on. As you flip through the tabs, everyone's respective credit card info is saved, and that's where you would hit book and pay and move on with the booking. Now, for the purposes of the demo, Egencia only has 1 fake credit card number set up so that we could just make a test booking. So I went back to single payment, but at that point, once your payment information is collected, you're good to go. Actually, on that note, I just forgot to mention, if, for example, it's not everyone wanting to use their own card, let's say, you know, it's 2 couples, one of which has a child, then you could drag and drop between cards as you see fit. So you could have the parents with their kid on one here and the other couple on the other. So once you're done, you would just click on book and pay. And this is where we're making the reservation. The tickets are issued by email within an hour. But on the confirmation page, you will receive the WestJet PNR number. You'll have an Agencia Global confirmation number. So if you have any questions, you could call us, you could email us, you could even chat with us right over here if you'd like. If you have any questions in the meantime, otherwise you'll receive those tickets by email. And then when we get to the confirmation page, we'll allow you to download and print both an itinerary and an invoice. So the itinerary and the invoice, if we have anyone tuning in from Quebec, are made available in English and in French as well. So you could print it out in whatever language you want. And since it's in PDF format, you could print it out or you could just email it directly to your customer. Now, because I'm in a demo account, I'm not sure if the reservation is actually going to go through or if it's just going to give me an error message. No, there we go. So this takes a little bit longer with the demo account. So here's your outbound booking number with your PNR, validating carrier, all that good stuff. Your itinerary is recapped. Your fare family details are recapped. And then you've also got your itinerary and invoice. So if you just click on itinerary here, there you go. That's what your itinerary would look like. And you'll notice here, I've just entered some arbitrary info of Voyage à la carte, which is our company. Our booking tool is called Agencia Global. We're Voyage à la carte. But when you set up your account, it would be set up so that your invoice and your itinerary would have your agency's info up here. So no need to use a separate piece of software to generate your invoices and your itineraries. So that's what your itinerary would look like. Right over here, we have live links to WestJet's checking page over here and a link to Visa HQ if ever you're booking to a country for which you're unsure if there's any visa requirements. And then if you were to click on your invoice, we'll just download that as well. There we go. Here's what your invoice looks like. And you'll notice that the base fares over here, so you have each passenger listed twice, once for the outbound, once for the inbound. Again, if we're not looking at a multi-ticket itinerary, then this would all just be, there wouldn't be outbound and inbound, there would just be one trip and everyone would have one base fare. But you'll notice because I selected single charge, your fee column is completely empty. So your markup has been pushed into the base fare, and once again, you're not divulging how much money you made on your ticket. So on that note, that's pretty much the condensed version. If anyone likes what they see and would like to learn more about booking with us in terms of, what type of airline incentives we have to offer, how you could save your bookings and your quotes, get fare alerts, review your commission statements, add master agents and sub agents, and so on, feel free to reach out to me. My name is right here in the presentation, and I could just, you know what? Well, actually, Megan, or I believe my name was listed on the invitation, if I'm not mistaken. So it's first name dot last name at agenciaglobal.com. You could feel free to reach out to me anytime.
Thank you, Jimmy. That was a lot of information. Wow.
Yeah, I'm gonna need
Eamon,
a sip of water after that.
yeah. Why don't you take a sip of water, and I will just remind the agents that if they have any questions, to please put your questions in the Q&A box, and we're going to get to them right now. Now, please make sure you stay till the end so that you can win the heavily discounted WestJet flight, which is very exciting now that we can all fly places again. So Jimmy, do you want to maybe kick us off? That was a lot of information. Can you just give us the 30-second elevator pitch why Agencia Global is such a great option for agents?
Yes, so long story short, we have net fare and commission agreements with over 150 airlines in both Canada and the US. If you're a Canadian agent, you can make money off point of sale US bookings. We have one of the most innovative booking platforms on the market. We don't share our commissions. There is no commission sharing structure. So whatever Reggie is offering me, for example, this promotion here, he's offering me $20 per ticket. That 100% of that $20 ends up in your pocket, and we're the only consolidator on the market that will allow you to accept multiple credit cards as form of payment on one PNR, as well as apply unlimited markup to your fare without a separate line item on the credit card statement.
Excellent. Solving a problem. Okay, Reggie, do you mind jumping in and letting us know what the structure of WestJet's BDMs are right now? Do you have one per province? What's going on?
That's an easy answer. We don't have any.
Oh.
So unfortunately, due to the pandemic, all of our BDMs were put on furlough. We want to bring back as many WestJetters as possible, but until the revenue supports the return of those jobs, unfortunately, they're not going to come. And also, WestJet overall is restructuring our sales organization. So I'm not sure what that's going to look like once we're fully recovered. We do want to support our agency partners. So that is important that we have support there. But what does that look like? I'm not 100% sure. So at this point, if your agency does have a key account manager, that is your point of contact. Otherwise, the travel support team at WestJet will service you and take care of all of your needs. If there's something specific that you're looking for from a BDM that you cannot get, please let me know, and I can try and get that information over to you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and watch Travel Week because we'll be the first to report when the BDMs come back.
There you go.
Okay,
and I'll add on my end as well. I just put in the chat to everyone my email address. So if anyone did like what they see and would like to learn more about booking with us and the incentives we have to offer, feel free to send me an email and we'll set up a one-on-one webinar.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's great. We don't have any more questions. Oh, we have one. Karen would like to know, she's new to the industry. Do you have any tips for her? Jimmy, why don't we start with you?
Ooh, sign up with Egencia. Well, actually, you know what? I'm glad you asked that question. Since you're new to the industry, there is something else that I would like to add regarding Egencia. So there's no GDS knowledge required for you to book with us. So what I showed you right now is basically the extent to which you would have to be familiar with the booking process. Long story short, if you've already used Expedia in the past to book your own ticket, you could book someone else's ticket and make some money with Agencia Global. In terms of servicing, as I mentioned, you could call us, you could email us, you could chat live with us. We manage servicing for all our bookings as well. So if you're new and kind of need a consolidation partner who's going to kind of help you through your journey, then feel free to reach out to us. And it would be my pleasure to offer you a one-on-one webinar.
Reggie, do you have any advice for someone brand new?
Absolutely. Take your time. Don't eat the elephant all at once. Take it one bite at a time. Get to know your partners because they will be your best friends and help you in times of need. If you can, get on as many webinars. Information is power. That's my key message to you. And obviously, travel is also important. Get out to those destinations, know them intimately so that you can be a trusted expert.
Yeah, I would agree with that one. When you go somewhere and you've seen it for yourself, it's so much easier to talk about it passionately because usually you've had such a good time there yourself.
Agreed.
Okay, Jimmy, let's go to you. Now that fingers crossed, we're hopefully, moving out of this COVID situation, what would you say to travel agents to inspire them that, things will get better?
Well, I think it's no secret that global vaccination rates are getting a lot better. Had we had this webinar at this time last year, we'd really have no idea in which direction we were headed. The Canadian government recently did lift their advisory on non-essential travel. So as long as we're vaccinated, we're welcome to travel. And what I could say from my side of things, working with Point of Sale US, where restrictions weren't as stringent as they were in Canada, we've seen the pent-up demand we were all hoping for materialize. So I'm pretty sure that as restrictions continue to get lifted, the demand will materialize. We'll all be in a position to do very well together. And to kind of touch on what Reggie said, take advantage of the downtime right now to educate yourself as much as possible on destinations, on promotions that are being run, just anything that'll help, that you believe will help you close your sales in the future.
Okay, that's great. Reggie, do you have any words for travel agents, especially as WestJet is getting their network going again?
Yes, the future is bright. 2022, as long as we continue down the path that we're going, demand will be coming back and capacity will be back. The Canadian government, as well as other international governments, are realizing that this is going to be an endemic. It's not going to go away. So they are going to start to relax rules and restrictions. There are tips and tricks to get around the travel issues, like the return to Canada requiring a molecular test. There are now RT LAMP tests that are out there as opposed to a PCR test. So it's the same thing. However, the RT LAMP test is a portable test that you can take with you. It's $150. It takes 45 minutes. You get your results in 45 minutes. You just have to do this RT LAMP test over a video call with a representative from the medical from the company that you purchased the test from to verify your identity. But there will be more and more capacity coming into market, and there will be more fun times ahead, I promise. So stick it out, because you guys are the experts, and there is a lot of knowledge that is leaving the industry, unfortunately, because of the pandemic. So your valuable skills are going to be called upon, and the demand is going to be quite high for all of your skills.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. It is a little bit of a golden opportunity for travel agents, because, you know, traveling isn't just as easy as, you know, going online and booking your flight anymore. There's like a lot of ducks you have to get in a row before you can travel. So travel agents out there, you know, use it as your opportunity, provide that service for people that are traveling. Okay, Jimmy, I'm going to give you final word.
I just want to say one more thank you to everyone for attending. Really appreciate it, and we'll be in touch. We should be able to announce the winner of the travel voucher by tomorrow.
Okay, great. And Reggie, final words?
Thank you, everyone, for sticking it out. We are a family. We're in this together. The travel industry has always been resilient, and we will always bounce back. Doesn't matter what you throw at us, we always survive. And the world is a better place with tourism. So please stick it out, and thank you for being with us. We really appreciate it.
Okay, thank you both for being here with us today. That was great information, very helpful to all the agents. Just to let the agents know, Travel Week, we do webinars quite often, so stay tuned. And of course, check out our website and our daily newsletter, because we really, really do work quite hard to make sure that you guys get the information that you need. So we'll get back to the winner of the WestJet ticket, and we'll see you all soon. Take care, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.